Hi besties, welcome back to the channel. It's Tasha's Corner here, and if you're new here, you are most welcome and feel free to like, share and subscribe. Mississippi carries a lot of historical weights because of its connection to slavery, segregation, civil rights movements, and some of the most painful chapters in Black American history. And it has been there for a long time, guys. It has been there for a long time, and a lot of black folks have been the victim of racism, and it always makes me feel, and I don't know how I can say this, but why is it that there's always a tension between black folks and white folks? And how a black person has been treated in a store, the way people look at them when they enter a particular neighborhood, the way they are being spoken to at work because of their skin type, guys. Is this necessary? And the hair texture of, why is it that there is always a tension between a black person and a white person? A lot of black people complain, and Mississippi having a very complicated history between black and white Americans, and this brings bad memories to black folks, and a lot of tension. I don't know why these other races feel like they are more superior than the other race. In this video, I've put together the clips, and you tell me what you think. Let's dive in. Before then, disclaimer: this video does not support bullying or harassment in any way, rather is for educational purpose and recent trends happening on social media. Let's take a look, and I'll be back for more commentary.
If you black and you stay in Mississippi, my heart goes out to you, man, for real. You are in a war that you ain't even know that started, man. I'm talking to the young black men, by the way, the ones who worked hard to gain a career, mastered the craft, and still yet taking losses after losses after losses because of how YT people feel off of emotions and how they feel about you, bro. Sad truth is, they'll give the white tea people chance after chance after chance. You make one mistake, bro, you gone. That's just the game us black people would never play. Very forgiving, heartfelt. Ain't no hate in our heart like that, man. One thing about it, God sees everything, man. So don't worry. They have to answer on Judgment Day. They have to stand before God, the man who sees everything. Point is, man, if you lost your job due to this fact in Mississippi, they put you in a bad position. It's cool. Your day coming, man.
Speaking of Mississippi being behind the times in terms of race and racism, do you know what year the state of Mississippi formally ratified the 13th Amendment? The 13th Amendment is the one that abolished slavery. Nationally, it was 1865, but in Mississippi, it wasn't until 2013.
So my brother lives in good old Mississippi, and we had a long conversation today about this Nolan Xavier Wells case, the death of Nolan Xavier Wells. As I'm talking with him about it, he knew nothing about the case. He's not on social media. He doesn't really watch TV like that, so he was oblivious to this story. So I got him up to speed on the story, and as I'm telling him the story, before I could even get to the point that Nolan never made it back, he stopped me in my tracks. He was like, well, let me guess. He never made it back. They made it back to shore without him. I was like, exactly. He was like, nah, I almost got caught up the same way. He said he almost got caught up the same exact way with one of his coworkers. He was like, he had started a job, and unbeknownst to him, he didn't know that there was some like thick racial tension happening on the job, where he works in like warehouse environment, where at this particular warehouse, the manager or the person that they reported to is a black man. And he was like, the white employees have a real hard time taking direction, orders, or even having a authority figure being a black person. So it becomes very problematic because they don't respect the manager. And it just, as black people are watching these white people disrespect this manager, it gets them in defensive mode. So he's like, the racial tension within a company is thick when it comes to that. But he was like, you know, we from California, we're used to diversity, being from California, being from the Bay Area. we are used to being around all types of people. We were raised like that. We had neighbors to the left, they were Asian. We had neighbors to the right, they were black. Neighbors directly across the street from us, they were white. Our schools were very diverse, at least back during our, school years. It was very diverse in the Bay Area in terms of who we interacted with on a daily basis. But of course, when you come to the South, that dynamic shifts significantly. What people don't realize is in the South, the self-segregation alone within the South is insane. It's a lot of times it's in the deeper South, not only are you self-segregating, but you actually see racism. You encounter it on a daily basis in a lot of these deep South places. And my brother, he's in the Hattiesburg, Mississippi area. So he was saying that he was cool with everybody. He understood at some point that there was some racial tension, but at this point he had kind of was befriending, various groups of people within this warehouse. And he was like, I guess the white people took a liking to him, and they invited him out to go fishing. And he said he had to, respectfully decline the offer to go fishing, because he was like, what they not finna do, they're not finna set me up and get me out there and I don't make it back. He was like, it ain't going down like that. Whether that was their intention or not, I'm not a fool. I understand what's going on within this warehouse. Y'all can't even respect the black manager. You can't respect a black authority figure. I'm not finna be the casualty because y'all trying to prove a point for somebody on his job. He told me a story about a little boy from their neighborhood that came up dead. Little boy, a teenage boy, got into it with another little boy, a white boy. They were friends. They got, kids get into arguments, disagreements. The disagreements spilled over to the parents, and the parents got into it. Ultimately, the kids got over their issue and started back being friends, but the parents never really got over it, got over their thing. They were still bickering back and forth, but the kids out playing. Some time passed, he said, and the black boy went fishing with the white boys and a group of other white children, and he never made it back home. He never made it back home from them going on this water excursion fishing. I can't remember what he said they were going to the water for, but nonetheless, he never made it back home. They found his body days later, washed up in another body of water in Mississippi, because where they went, he said it has like a strong kind of current, and it just pushed him downstream, and they found his body, and they ultimately ruled his death an accidental drowning. But he was like, we know it wasn't no accidental drowning. We don't believe that's what it was. We understood that there was tension between that boy's family and the white family that he was with, he went fishing with, and they're patient. They probably can't get you when they want to get you, but as soon as you let your guard down, that's when it's gonna go down. He said he don't trust none of them there when it comes to it. It's the deep South, and a lot of people forget you are in the deep South. Ain't nothing changed. They just do it in a different way, and they got people, family, friends, etc. in high places that can get them out of anything. I'm like, wow, I didn't realize that it was that thick and it was that deep in terms of just what you experience on a daily basis, just on a work site when it comes to racism. And he was like, oh no, it ain't no game. He was like, it ain't no game down here in Mississippi. You got to be very vigilant. You got to be very cautious, have your eyes open, head on swivel. Look at things from a different lens. You cannot, you have to dissect everything he said. Because what you don't think is something that you should be worried about is the exact thing you should indeed be worried about. So that's why you just got to keep your distance from them, because it can consume you. Because now you think everybody out to get you. But yeah, that's some of the stuff that he shared with me. I told him he needs to go ahead and create a TikTok page and start telling his stories. He's been there pretty much all his life, well, at least all of his adult life, for sure. And I'm like, you need to get on here and tell these stories, because these are interesting stories that he was telling me. He told me so much more that I just don't have time in this video to kind of go through it. But it was very eye opening. I'm like, you need to get up out of there. You need to leave there, because that's alarming if this is what you guys have to go through on a daily basis, especially when you're at the workplace, on job sites and stuff. But yeah, if you're in Mississippi, or if you got stories, or you have family, drop in the comments and tell me what y'all experience has been, just being a black person in the Deep South. Have your experiences been similar to my brother's? Have you had more positive experiences? And how do you navigate it? What does that look like for you? Let's talk about it.
Stop. Black Americans are being hunted and murdered in Mississippi. I'm going to say that again because it's horrifying, and the mainstream media is too busy allowing the Trump administration to dominate the news cycle, lying about the economy, downplaying the war, ignoring the health outbreaks, and the upcoming healthcare cuts to take even a moment to talk about the Black people being targeted for death in the state of Mississippi. And before you say I'm being hyperbolic about this, if we had this many unexplainable deaths of white children happening in one state, you know the media would be losing their collective minds. One beautiful white girl was killed by an undocumented immigrant, and the Republican Party ran their entire election and then wrote an aggressive immigration bill in her name. But we are watching Black person after Black person after Black person lose their lives under unexplained circumstances, many of them being found strung up in trees, and no foul play is being called by the police or the medical examiner or any investigative reporters. I need you to stay with me on this because I understand this is very uncomfortable, but it is essential that we understand what is really happening, especially if you look like me, or you live in the South, or you have a family member, or you yourself are in law enforcement. When someone Black ends up hung for no discernible reason, in questionable circumstances, with no indication the victim was suicidal, that's what's called lynching. But when this happens in a state that refused to pass a standalone anti-lynching bill in 2026, the state that didn't ratify the 13th Amendment formally abolishing slavery until 1995, 130 years after it was passed by Congress, and didn't even make it official until 2013 because of a clerical error, when this kind of thing happens in the state that recorded more lynchings than any U.S. state between 1882 and 1968, with at least 581 documented racial terror killings, the only state that banned Sesame Street because they didn't like white and Black children being shown playing together, then you start to see a pattern and a major problem. The adults in charge of Mississippi seem determined to keep their generations of hate and division going strong, and people are dying because of it. We have endless media discussion and laws and attention paid to the 14 trans people who might want to play college sports in America. We have multiple made-up think pieces about the unacceptable rise of non-existent communism. But 10 Black people found hanging from trees in one state isn't a cause for concern? Why? We know why. And to be clear, it looks like at least 13 Black people have been found hanging from trees in this country since September 2024, most of them declared self-inflicted by authorities. But the Black community has been determined to point out that Black people do not hang themselves from trees, that historically that is something that has been done to them. And we know that because one of the most recent deaths was Tysa Fortune, who was found hanging so high in a tree that the authorities needed a fire truck to get her down. It's pretty obvious that girl didn't do that to herself, but who did? Who would be able to do such a thing? And why did no one see anything? Because that's odd, right? Especially when we can track pretty much anyone anywhere now with those horrible flock cameras. But in this case, nothing. And when these deaths are ruled a suicide, or alternatively, not foul play, no one ends up looking for the commonality between the deaths. Evidence isn't collected or compared. A pattern isn't established. If these hangings had been ruled murders or even cause of death unknown, then maybe there would be some progress in justice. But here, no, nothing. Remember, this is the same state, and in many cases, the same medical examiner who seemed incredibly cagey on the recent death of Nolan Xavier Wells, the brilliant, beautiful Black teenager who went missing and then was found dead after going out with his white friends on the 4th of July. The same white friends who came home without him, the same ones who can't get their story straight, and the same ones who one of their moms is a local judge. In fact, I think the country's preoccupation with the death of Nolan Wells is surprising to the powers that be in Mississippi, because Black people have been ending up dead in their state since forever, and things just move along, but not this one. Because the world is watching this one now, and there's a lot more questions than there are answers. Mississippi needs to be on every American's radar because Black people are being murdered there, because there is no federal oversight on local law enforcement, because so far we don't even have media coverage or congressional action. As Reverend Whitfield of Gulfport, Mississippi, a very close friend of the Wells family, recently said, justice cannot thrive in the shadows. When an 18-year-old's life is lost under troubling circumstances, transparency is not a privilege to be granted. It is a public obligation. We owe Nolan Wells and his family and every citizen nothing less than a complete, impartial, and transparent investigation. Truth is the foundation on which justice stands. Every single person who ends up dead, no matter their creed, their color, their religion, whatever, deserves this kind of attention. It's just that Black people in Mississippi rarely get it, and none of us should be okay with that. There are people right now living among us who are lynching Black people. And if you know someone who is doing this, think someone might be doing this, have any information on what might be going on, then you need to speak up. And I understand that's hard in a state like Mississippi when it's often assumed that law enforcement and the justice system are complicit, but then go to the FBI. And I know the FBI is a shell of what it once was, but we cannot continue to do nothing. I would also like to remind you that in recent statewide elections, Democrats came within 3 percentage points of winning in Mississippi. Like many southern states, Mississippi is not red, it is blue suppressed, which means Mississippi is not irredeemable, but it needs our attention because this is what systemic racism looks like in practice. This is what happens when racism is built into a system brick by brick. And this is what must finally come to an end. The time has come to stop turning a blind eye. The time has come for justice.
Mississippi, 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 Mississippi. Mississippi is becoming more and more racist as the day goes by. Me personally, I never had to experience racism myself, but I have witnessed others in situations where I feel as in they were being treated unfairly because the color of their skin. Me personally, I never had to go through that, God forbid. You know what I'm saying? And I pray that I don't never go through it. Because I hear stories of a lot of things that happen to people down south in Mississippi. You know, unfortunately that those people had to go through what they had to go through because of the color of their skin, because they can't control that. They can't help that. But we live in a day and we live in the states down south where racism still exists. And a lot of people have ways of covering it up or hiding that they're racist or hiding that people are being racist. I'm gonna be honest with you. On the outside looking in, a lot of people just think the whole Mississippi is racist, but it's not. But it's still here. And I was in a situation myself recently in Oxford, Mississippi, at a Walmart. And I love the city of Oxford. Trust me, everybody in Oxford is not racist. This is not for the whole city. These people probably wasn't even from Oxford. But I ran into a situation in Oxford, Mississippi at the Walmart. Yes, the Walmart in Oxford, Mississippi. Well, you know I'm a content creator, so when I need things, I go to Walmart. If I need some electronic stuff, if I need it on like right then and there and I don't have time to order it, I go to Walmart. So I'm in Oxford, Mississippi. I go to Walmart. I, you know what I'm saying, get a few little extra little things I need. I'm in the electronic aisle. What was I looking for? What was I looking for? Some headphones. I broke my Beats. Oh, no, I love my Dre Beats. I broke them. Then I take my Dre Beats everywhere. I use them at the airport. I use them to go to sleep. I use them to exercise with. I use them to go on my daily walk with. I use them to clean up the house. I need my Beats. Listen, I don't want to get into that because I'm getting to think about that. That's not even about this. But it's just every time I think about it, I get mad all over. But I was in Oxford, Mississippi in the electronic aisle looking for something. In the process of me looking for something, I hear a lot of commotion. And you know me, I mind my own business. I'm thinking, oh, it's probably just like some people been drinking or whatever. It was a little later in the night. I'm thinking it's probably somebody just drunk and just playing or some kids running around. But while I'm in the process of heading all the way over there where the Beats are located at, like where the headphone section, the speakers, and the stuff like that is at. I walked into a situation with, I say, at least 6 Caucasian men between the ages of probably like 20 and 30. One of them, I think he was in his early 30s, but the rest of them look a little younger. And while I'm walking up, I see all of them, and they're talking to somebody, but I can't see the other person they're talking to, but they're talking very aggressive, in an aggressive manner. So I wasn't trying to get in their business. I didn't know what was going on. Like, that ain't got nothing to do with me. Excuse me, y'all. Can I walk around, y'all? And they let me through. And they're still being aggressive. And when I get around them, I see that it's an African-American younger guy, which looks like he's nowhere. He's like a child. He has to be like 14-year-old. He has to be anywhere between 13, 15-year-old. They're yelling at him, screaming, like aggressively yelling at him. He's a kid. If I was 13, 14-year-old and this grown man screaming at me, I would be scared. So I step in. My instincts look in. What's going on? What did he do, y'all? Why are y'all yelling at him? Like, what did he do? Where are your parents at? The first thing I asked him, where are your parents at? He's on video. He called somebody while they yelling at him. I guess, I don't know if that was his first thing to do, was to call somebody. He had somebody like on a video thing. I don't know if it was an adult or not. So I asked him, what did he do? These guys tell me, you guys know how Walmart, they have speakers that you can play your music to. Like, it has the music, like, like on display. So if you want to buy a speaker, you can test the speakers out to see how loud they are, or see if you like the sound of them or whatever. So kind of like how they got the video games back in the days where you can walk up with a little joystick hanging out and you can play it. These guys tell me he's playing the music loud. It's annoying. I asked them, I said, do you guys work here? No, we don't work here, but it's annoying. It's irritating. He needs to turn it down. Now I'm mad because I feel like they're trying to pick with this child, which is an African-American young child, knowing that all this stuff is going on in the world. So what I asked those guys, who are you guys to tell him to turn something down when you guys don't work here? Putting yourself in a situation that has nothing to do with y'all. When they came to Walmart, this is what I asked them. When y'all came to Walmart, y'all come to get something and leave. The same as me. I came to Walmart to get what I needed and I was going to leave. What somebody else is doing, if I see somebody running through Walmart butt naked, I'm not going to stop them and scream at them, hey, why are you running butt naked? That's not my job to do. But these guys, they have this thing, and I'm not going to just throw it on. I'm trying to say this stuff without people being like, I'm trying to use race and this and that. And you know how people try to do switch your words up. But it's a lot of people that feel like it's their job to tell people what to do when they're not in the position to tell nobody what to do. Like if my neighbor decide he wants to paint his grass pink, and I hate the way it makes my yard look when people pull up to my house, they got to see his pink grass. But who am I to tell him what to do with his yard? That's not my job. I don't run him. So they're telling this kid, you're annoying. That music you're playing loud is annoying. Turn it down. Basically trying to what it looked like to me, they was trying to bully him. That's what I call that. Because who are you guys to tell him that? So when I get aggressive with them, like, hey, bro, y'all can't tell him what to do. Y'all cannot tell him what to do. That's not your child. Y'all don't work here. Y'all can't tell him what to do. What they tell me is, one of the guys pulled me to the side. And he lied. This is where I get real mad. He's like, bro, we don't want no problem. Because they seen I got kind of aggressive and they toned it down. They're like, oh, he's taking this guy's side. He finna ride with him type. Probably thinking that, like, I'm finna, you know what I mean? He like, hey, when the older guy, the one I talked to, is like in his early 30s, he pulled me to the side. Hey, I said, man, what's going on, bro? What? He like, hey, brother, listen, no problem, brother, man. We just wanted to turn the music down. I said, bro, y'all don't work here? Oh, but I do work here. I'm security. I said, you security? You have a Ole Miss shirt on. You security? He like, yeah. I said, all right, okay, cool. I'm gonna talk to the little guy. I put the little guy to the side. We walked off. I said, man, call your parents or whatnot. He did that, and I didn't think nothing of it. They separated. He went and did his thing. And something when I was leaving, getting ready to leave out of there, the same guy that had the Ole Miss shirt on. Hear me out now. Remember, he told me he's security, right? And he works there. Tell me why I'm walking to the self-checkout. I see this guy at the self-checkout. So I stop and watch him while he's at the self-checkout. He doesn't see me. He's buying stuff. He's buying stuff that he just grabbed. He's buying stuff. I waited. I watched him. As he walked out, security stopped him. You mean to tell me you're security there, but security stopping you after you leave and buying something and asking for your receipt. They asked for his receipt with his bag. I watched him when he hold his bag up. I'm looking at him from self-checkout. Show them his receipt and show him the inside his bag. He walks out. So now I'm pissed because you just lied to me when you could have just been real. Like, bro, we just trying to make him turn the music down. I would have had no problem with that. But they had no business trying to tell the little man to turn the music down when they don't work there. That's not y'all job. Y'all trying to be on some, act like y'all running something and trying to belittle. You know, I just feel like it wasn't for them to tell him to do nothing. People need to know their place and stay in their place. You see what I'm saying? So something tells me to turn around because now I'm worried a little bit about the little kid because he was by himself. I see a few guys. I'm like, hey, man, y'all seen a little kid walking around? Because he was on a scooter in an electronic place. I forgot to tell y'all that. When he was over there by those speakers, he was on like a little scooter thing, like a little thing that the older people supposed to ride around in when they're in Walmart. He was on one of those. I said, y'all seen him? They're like, yeah, he been here. You just went through that way. I'm like, okay. I'm like, man, there's some guys, and I told them the situation. They're like, oh, his daddy, his stepdad or his dad just, he's around there looking for him now. He just walked in. He just passed you with a mustard shirt on. So I see that you got it that I just seen, I stop him, which was his stepdad. I walk around and I see him before I see the kid. I'm like, hey, bro, you got a little kid that's like, that's your son or something, like 14, 13, 15 year old. He's like, yeah, where he at? I've been looking for him. He supposed to be up in Walmart all day. He supposed to be in at the house. We didn't know he was up here. I'm like, for real? He's like, yeah. I'm like, man, there was some people up here just, like trying to, like, I don't know what was the situation was, but I just defended him in a situation he was just in an electronic aisle. He's like, what happened? I tell him what happened. He gets pissed. He's mad. What they at? What they at? I'm like, no, it's over with, bro. It's over with. We handled it. No, it wasn't nothing like they harmed him. They put their hands on him, nothing like that. We handled it or whatnot. And he was like, okay. He like, man, I appreciate you. I'll be watching your videos, man. I know exactly who you are. I support you. Told him, what I'm saying? It ain't nothing, but I don't even mention it. So later, that when I walked out, I ended up seeing his son and him in the parking lot. He ended up finding his son. I was leaving. And he ran to me. He like, no, yeah. And I told him, he said, what happened with you and those guys? He's like, oh, they just thought I was playing the music. I kept telling them it wasn't me. The music was already loud. Whatever, blase. Long story short, either way it go, I just told him, I just did what my instinct told me to kick in by being so much stuff going on in Mississippi with our race that I just felt like, not that it was a race thing, but I just seen a bunch of different race people surrounding the kid. And I just wanted, to make sure he was all right. That's all I did. And he was like, I appreciate you for that. So later that night, I made a post on Facebook about the situation that just happened to aware people about letting their kids be out alone because anything can happen. Because you hear about so much stuff going on with African-American kids, girls, and males being found hung, or not saying that could have happened, but I'm just saying it's just so much go on that you have to be alert and aware, and put people on alert about situations to know where their kids are at, or to be aware of what's going on in different situations like that. Which, come to find out, his parents didn't even know he was out there when he wasn't even supposed to be. He was in somewhere where he wasn't supposed to be at the time, But still, that doesn't make it right for those guys to be approaching him like that when they don't even work there. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, in Mississippi and other states, watch over our young black men, black children that live in states where racism still exists, where things happen and a lot of stuff gets swept under the rug. I don't want that nothing bad to happen to nobody's children that can be avoided. So I made a post about it, and the guy mom must have seen it. The little kid mom seen it. She commented on it and she told me how much she appreciated me for stepping up for her child, and it meant a lot to me. So that's what that was. I appreciate y'all for watching this. And before I end this, I want to tell y'all that I love all people, no matter what race you are. I have supporters from all around the world, different cultures, different race, different sexualities, all type of stuff, you know. And I love who love me. I don't see color. My children are mixed, both of my children. But I want people to know that reality is reality. We live in a day and time where people are still ignorant and racist. Not saying these guys weren't, because they probably weren't. They probably were, didn't mean no harm. But my instinct kicked in and I just did what I thought that was right. I might have been wrong.
Most people don't realize this about Mississippi. As someone from Mississippi, here's what I actually experienced. The people down here are 50-50. Actually, what I mean by that is 50% together and 50% divided. Yes, they pick and choose down here. And if you know, you know. Now, I do know that this video is finna piss a lot of y'all off. I can't be 1 in 10,000, just sit back and let it keep happening. I am victim to a lot of white folks that love to pull their card, especially when they feel like they got the advantage. For example, a job. For example, at the dealership, apartment complexes. Like, you just gotta make it make sense. I can go on, and there's plenty more. The message that I'm trying to get through is Mississippi is not like the other states. It's a lot of racism going on where y'all live too. It's a lot of them still think that we back in the 1800s. And they really trying to do the modern day slavery. And y'all love to picture it as just not qualified. But who's gonna tell Jimmy the only reason he got in before Daquan did was because the fact I'ma just label his ass he knows somebody. A year later, cause you know it's always hard for us black people to get in at the same time. But a year later, Daquan got a full scholarship, running faster than Jimmy could ever be. That shit is built inside of us, man. And I don't care what you try to do. You can't stop this, man. This video is not for all. Genuinely, shout out to the ones that are trying to make a change and be on our side. And believe there is no difference between skin color, you and I. It's all love, brother. Welcome to Mississippi. And one thing I learned about being a black man down here in Mississippi, they teach their kids and they give them lessons on how to hate us. Because it just don't pass down through DNA, right? From the moment that baby able to point and speak is when it all begins. See, they create this image for their child that they embed inside their brain about us black people. From the types of conversation that they have behind doors, the child picks up those conversations. And what does that child do? That child will grow up and go out in public and start using what he learned bits by bits. And that image that they created slowly starts to form. It starts to make sense to them. From the moment they see a black man with his pants sagging, the jewelry that we wear, the cars that we drive with the big rims on, the music that we listen to, has all been spoken about behind doors. This is Mississippi now. And sooner or later, the kid will go to a public school, make a group of friends who parents taught them the same thing, had those same conversations behind doors, and then they click like this here, and then they form their own opinion. Now, I'm not saying that they sit their kids down, give them pen and paper, and physically teach them day by day on how to hate black people, but they give them habits, and those habits build up, they get mad, and what they always say when they get mad, Niagara Falls. And from the moment he said that word, he chose his journey. Hey, welcome to Mississippi.
I hate when people who have never stepped foot on Mississippi soil always say, oh, I don't understand why black people still live in Mississippi. As if a lot of things that you might see on the news in Mississippi don't happen in other areas. Like racism, for example. I stay in Texas. Now, I moved from Mississippi 2018, but it was nothing to do with racism. But if you think Texas ain't racist, in other areas also,
most people don't realize this about Mississippi or even realize what it's like being black. You want to know why they hate us so bad? Because we just better in all aspects. Sports, music, art, the way we wear our hair, the fashion. They just hate to see us in the spotlight. Their biggest fear is a black man walking in the room and all the attention shifts to him. And it's not so much of, who is this guy? They want to know how. And then they try to find out what they could do to stop it. Nolan Wells, he was the spotlight. And I don't care what you say. You can get mad. You can stay in the comment section. But they took away his spotlight. They didn't want him to be great. They didn't like the aura that he carried. We're just naturally good at everything. And here's the sad thing. We're not trying to do that. We're just being ourselves. And how can y'all have so much hate for somebody that's just being themselves? One thing about it, you might hear a lot about a black person killing a black person. But what you don't understand, push come to shove, forbid something bad happen. I guarantee you, the black community will stand up. Just like y'all thought the black community wouldn't stand up on this case with Nolan Wells. We ain't letting it go. Not gonna let it go. This will be history. Your kids' gonna hear about it. And their kids gonna hear about it. Because we deserve that recognition. We deserve for these cases to be solved and not undetermined. Whether he did drown, you still have to hold them accountable for leaving him. And that's what we're trying to get y'all to understand. Welcome to Mississippi.
I don't know why this other race feels like they are more superior than the other race, and I don't think that black folks deserve this treatment, guys. I don't think so, because this other race feel like black folks don't deserve a better place in anything good. How do you feel treating somebody else like they are not worth anything? How do you even sleep after doing what you do? And for black folks, it's not about wanting everyone to like them. No, it's not about that. It's not about that, because nobody can force anyone, or nobody can force another person to like them. No, it doesn't work like that. It's about the feeling wanted. You're treating like they are not like anybody else. Like black folks are just guys. It's not supposed to be done like that. It's not supposed to be done like that. It feels like they just want to feel like they are welcomed. Like they are welcome. Instead, they are being treated the opposite, and at the end of the day, everyone wants the same basic things. A lot of tension comes in because this person feels like they are more superior, and this skin type is not wanted. Guys, it's not like that. It's not like that. Everyone wants the same basic things, not preferences. They want to work, raise their children, go shopping without anyone thinking they want to steal in the store, building businesses, enjoying the neighborhood, and live without constantly worrying about being judged because of their skin color. Guys, this is just a color. Anyone else doesn't matter, because we need each other for the betterment of the country. You can find that even kids are also being the victim. They are being victim of because of they are being victim of the same thing, of the same racism. Even at school, they are being bullied for being black. When did it become a crime to be black, guys? When did it become a crime? I wonder what goes through their minds, thinking they are more superior than the other race. But when somebody is clearly being treated differently because of their race, that deserves to be taken serious, guys. That deserves to be taken seriously. Because nobody deserves to be treated like they are nobody. It's not supposed to be like that, because it's not making sense. As far as I know, we are all the same. No one is above the other person. And Mississippi being have a large population of black Americans, and I think that is why maybe being treated that way, because there is a history of racist. And to think of it like years back, nobody could experience racism. Somebody could experience racism in a small town, and maybe just tell their family members and their close friends, and it will just end there and then, and nobody else will even get to know about it. Unlike today, we'll see everyone here on social media. Everyone is there posting everything they feel like, and somebody can record an incident on their phone and post it online, and thousands or millions will get to see it and to know that racism is still there. It never ended. So in my own opinion, I think this has to stop because it's doing more harm than good, and is separating a lot of people from doing a lot of things together. Because I know when you stick together, like how you stick together with with the other race, there's no segregation, there's no looking down upon somebody or the other race. Guys, this country would be a better place to live in. It would be a better place to live in. Unlike what we are seeing here, we are seeing like a lot of people that are more superior than the other race. These people, they deserve this. This other race doesn't deserve this. These people, they can't attend this particular school. This person, they're not supposed to benefit from this. This is not how it's supposed to be done, guys. It's not supposed to be it's supposed to be done like this, guys, and it's affecting a lot of people. Why hating somebody because of the skin type? Why hating somebody because they are black? Is it a crime to be black, guys? It's not a crime. We can be all we and to think of it, what we say like we are all white. What happens then? What will happen? We can't all be white. This has to stop. The racism has to stop because it's just doing more harm than good. Because I've seen a lot of people like at school, a child is being bullied because this child is dark, and then they'll be touching the hair like, oh, what's this. That's the child. It's not good for the child. It's not good. Even just an adult is not really making sense. How can you feel like you are walking on the streets, and then and the people will be just looking at you? Oh wow, what's this? What's this? And you'll be like, what's going on? What's happening? As if you're not supposed to be there. As if you're not supposed to be there. This has to stop because it's not even making sense. I don't know how, but this has we have to work on this. We have to work on this because it has affected a lot of people, more especially the kids. The kids. Maybe this person the kid will stop even going to school because of being bullied. They will stop attending. They will stop attending gatherings because of being bullied, because of being looked down upon. This is not doing any good. It's not doing any good. If like we say we all become white, what will happen then? What will change? Nothing will change because at the end of the day we all the same. It's just the color. It's just the color. It's just the color. You wanting other people not to benefit from from good things, it won't even change anything. At the end of the day, we all want good things. We all want to belong to something good. We all want to own something better. Let's this racism stop. It's just doing harm. Thank you guys for watching. Please remember to subscribe. See you in my next video.